Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. I'm just going to do a quick one on why I specifically chose to go with the Alpha Futures Zero plan for my first account in returning back to trading. So the most important thing for me, just at this point anyway, getting back into trading, was to just find an account that was, I suppose, cheap in comparison, or inexpensive compared to FTMO, which is what I was used to before. I know that would be hundreds of dollars for the 50k. So with the zero plan, it's 99 for the month for the 50k, but also there's no activation fee. And with the activation fee on Alpha Futures, it's $149 for a qualified account. So once you pass the evaluation on either the standard or the advanced plan, you'll be paying $149 as well as this monthly fee as well. So the way I very simply saw it was, if I do go for a zero plan, which is $99 per month, as opposed to a standard plan, which is $79, yes, I'm paying $20 more per month for the account that I keep. But if I did get to a qualified status, even on my first account after 1 month, I'm paying $149 on the standard plan. So with the $20 difference that I'm paying per month, it's basically 7 months that would need to pay extra on the zero plan before I actually end up hitting this $149. So that was one of the initial things for me, was just to have really small upfront cost, just to get back into starting to trade again and hopefully start to build up, I suppose, more of a buffer and actually start to extract some money from the markets, from payouts and such. So just wanted an easy entry into not having to pay too much, but also something that hasn't got lots of strict rules. So let's go through some of the rules then for the zero plan. First off, of course, for the evaluation, just having the 1 minimum trading day is, I suppose, nice, but I've now put a week under my belt in terms of the trading that I've now done. Just at a small loss for the week. I think it's 0.5% or 0.6%, something like that. So nothing too crazy. So with this right now, it's just I really want to actually scale up for the next week, as I've just kind of got a swing of using the account now, using the AlphaTix platform. So I'll probably look to scale up. So it's part of what I was looking at anyway with the contract sizing. So the contract, or the max that you can do on the evaluation, is 3 contracts. And what I've done so far is I've either traded 3 micros or 5 micros. Those are the most that I've been doing. 3 contracts, to my understanding, is the same as doing 30 micros. So it's the equivalent of 3 minis. So my understanding is that as long as you're not doing more than that, then you're fine. And there is a scaling plan then with the qualified account. So you, under the $1,500 profit, once qualified, you can be trading 10 micros, which is the equivalent of 1 mini. And even with where I've been at the moment, I've done 5 micros as a max for one of my trades, so I'm at half of this position size anyway. I know I'm in the evaluation, but I'm just thinking about how I can translate this then to moving into the qualified status. Of course, as we start to build up a bit of a buffer within the account, so 1,500 to 2,000 profit, it can now double to 2 minis, or the equivalent of 20 micros, $2,000 to $3,000 profit, 3 minis or 30 micros. And I believe for these it would just be the same. So the max that you can do then is the 3 minis or 30 micros. So with what I've done in terms of the sizing and the positions at the moment, I've got no issues with the way that things work now with the zero plan. So I'm well within the rules at the moment. So I just want to make sure that I don't do something silly and end up like blowing the account by a hard breach. So just want to stay within that. Now I've kind of got that week I can see how I can sort of change things about, because I don't want to be in an evaluation for a long period of time. So 1 week under the belt now, so it does give another 3 weeks before it would mean that I would pay another amount for the monthly fee. So really I would like to pass it by that point, so we'll see going into next week what that'll look like. Max drawdown 2000, so I've spoken about this before. It's 4% of the account to earn 6%, so it's not too bad. It's only 1.5 R that you would need to achieve on that, so it's quite nice in that sense. Resets also $79, so I'm not sure how I would play this. Of course the idea is that I never actually fail the account, and we'll see how it goes though, but I think maybe the best way to do it was just be to cancel the account and then make a new one to pay the 99, because I think if you reset, then you still have to pay that $99 once you hit that certain date where you would have that monthly subscription, so then you're paying twice as much almost. So we'll see if that ever comes into play, then we'll kind of figure things out there, but my understanding would be you just cancel the account and then just make a new one and just pay the $99 instead of paying $79 and then another 99 once you hit that 1 month mark or the monthly payment stage. So I need to look into that a little bit more if that ends up happening to me. I've got the daily loss guard, so it's a soft breach on the account of 2%, so I can't ever really see myself trading more than 2% of the account anyway. I think the only reason that would happen to me is if there's major slippage anyway, so shouldn't be much of an issue there. No consistency rules on the evaluation, and you can hold through the news, which is just nice not to have to think about that. So we'll just play it safe though. I don't really trade the news anyway, so that's fine. Then moving into the qualified status, so of course won't need to pay an activation fee, so it's just the $99 for that monthly. That's quite nice then, not to have to think to pay another amount to then have that extra burden to like have to do well. On this there is a space for having to do the standard plan, which is something I might look into doing later anyway, but just for the initial stage anyway, just for myself, just want that low entry to get into trading again. So max drawdown is the same at 4% on the account. Profit split, we'll get into this as well. So for the zero account, there is, where have I done it? I thought I had in it. There we go. Right, so I thought I had a tab open for this. Oh, it is the same. Okay. So first there's the consistency rule. So just to ensure that you don't have like a major winning day that just has all of your wins. I trade often from a 1 to 1 to 1 to 3 RR on most of my trades. So on average it's around like a 1 to 2. So I'm not really going to have like 10 to 1 trading days anyway, so that's not really going to be an issue for me for my trading, so not something I really need to think about. But it's nice to know that there's no set payout date. So I've been looking at some of the creators in the space at the moment, and they're like speaking about their payout dates and having to make sure that they request at specific dates, otherwise if they miss it then they have to wait for the next one. So it's just nice to know for the zero account, don't really need to think about that at the moment. So you can request every 5 winning trading days of $200 or more. As we saw with my trading this week, there were 2 wins, 2 losses. One would have had the $200 profit or more. One I did scale down on, and it was $167 profit. So it wouldn't have met this threshold of the $200. So it's nice for me to have this time now to understand how I can basically play to make sure that I can give myself the best chance of securing payouts on a consistent basis. The trading days don't need to be consecutive, which is nice, and it's 5 accumulated between each payout requests. So really, even if you're at a 50% winning rate, So over a 2 week period, you would have 5 wins, 5 losses in 10 trading days, which would then mean that you can make a payout every 2 weeks. And that's 2 per month, which is really nice. And let's say, for example, you're doing 2-to-1 RR trades. You're risking, wrong tab there. You're risking the 1R each time. So for the 10 trading days, 5 of them will be winning. You'll get a 2R for those 5 winning trades. So you'll get 10R, but you also lose 5 times 1R in those. So you would win 5R. So if you're risking 1% on the account, which is $500, you'll then make 2,500. I should have just kept that open. So 500 times the 5 trading days would be 2,500 that you can request a payout on. So with this now, the maximum payout that you can take on the account is $1,500 on a 50k zero. So, but then you can also only request 50% of the profit, which 50% of this times 0.5 would be 1,250. So that would meet that, where you wouldn't have to request more than this amount. But the game is to keep the account for a longer period of time and make sure that you hit the 30 trading days of the $200 profit or more, and this will then allow you to request 100% of the payouts. So the idea over a period of time is to just ensure that you're hitting these 200 profit days on a prolonged period of time. So once you do hit that 30 day, then you can request that maximum payout of 1,500 per request. So can really add up. That will then mean that's 1,500 times 2 for the month, just for this example given. So $3,000 to be taking per account. Of course, you can be taking 3 accounts on this. That will then lead to a $9,000 payout. So you can see how you can quickly scale up on this. So that's quite nice there. And one thing to understand is to ensure that you don't withdraw to your maximum loss. I think with this, once you go over 52k, then it just stays at 50k on the account. I'm not 100% sure. I do need to double check on that. So as the maximum loss limit. So once you do start building a bit of a buffer, it's a good idea to just make sure that you're not requesting too much into your profits, so that you have some room to play with, that you can continue to trade the account. Because what would happen if you withdraw to the maximum loss limit, it will just close the account permanently. But if you also leave little drawdown, then it's just hard to continue trading out of that. So hopefully I can show how we're going to work on that. And the profit split on the zero account is not tiered as it is on the others. So there's not a scaling plan in terms of your tiered profits. It's 90% at all times. So the 1250 that we'd make in that example times 0.9 would be 1125 for the first payout on that specific example given 2 weeks into trading the qualified account. So that was something quite nice to know. Next we'll go into is the daily loss guard. Pretty simple and straightforward, but it's just a soft breach on the account. So it just means that once you've hit $1,000 of a loss on the account, that you just can't trade on the account anymore. It's not a hard breach. You don't lose the account. So as you can see up here, so it's just nice to have that in place. I don't expect myself really to really get into that on a daily basis, so it's not much of an issue for myself. And then moving into the consistency of 40% for your trading. So first, of course, you would need to have 5 winning trading days, and there is a calculator that I have for this as well. So here, so let's just go through an example of this and the zero plan. It's just nice to be able to have this there. So once you have the qualified account, let's say we were doing trades of between 1 to 3 RR, and let's say we made 1 R there, so it would be 500. Let's say we did a trade that got 2R, one that did 3R, another one that did 1R, and another one that did 1R. So the maximum win that you would have had for Is that right? Oh no, let me take this up. Okay. So the maximum win cannot be more than 40%. So the maximum win in this instant would be 1500, which would have been a 3RR trade, which is just under the 40%, at 38%. So that would allow you to actually take profit on this after you've hit your maximum 5 trading days of $200. And of course the profit here is $4,000. So you would then have to play around with it to make sure that you're like extracting a good amount of profit from the account, but also making sure that you're not going too close to your maximum loss limit once you've hit the 30 trading days of the $200. So hopefully that's given a bit more of an insight to why I've chosen to go with the zero plan. I'll go more in depth hopefully just as things start to occur, but really just for me it was just to have that low initial cost, and for anyone that is looking to kind of delve into the futures space and the monthly fees and such, I think a zero plan is really good. I did manage to get in with, I think it was a 25% discount, which I mentioned in the first video. So I managed to get this at about $75 for the month. I don't know if that continues for the monthly fees or whether now my second month would then be $99. Not really sure how that works. Regardless, it's not really the end of the world because I'm not paying that activation fee anyway, so just allows me to have a really low initial cost to get involved. Alpha futures are always holding, I believe, a minimum of 10% of a discount on the account anyway, so it would be $89 basically for the zero account. There should be a link in the description to allow you to get a 10% discount, and if there are larger discounts in the future, do keep an eye out for those as well. I've been told there's sometimes even sometimes where there's I suppose discount of not having an activation fee or a code that you can use for that, so do keep an eye out if that's ever the case, and if that is the case then I would definitely go with one of the standard or the advanced plans. I haven't really looked too much into either just because right now I'm not really wanting to pay an activation fee for them, but maybe in the future if that's something that I end up doing then can look into these deeper to find out which would probably be best for my style of trading as well. But thanks for watching, have an amazing day, take care.